Tensions are escalating over the Strait of Hormuz. The new supreme leader is allegedly gay, and top Trump counterterrorism official is resigning over the Iranian war. Let's cover all of it, because the Iranian war has effectively shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow choke point, as you know, that carries about 1/5 of the world's traded oil. Since early March, Iranian forces have declared the strait as closed. They're launching attacks on commercial vessels, tankers, and cargo ships trying to pass through. Shipping traffic has plummeted, and oil prices are surging past critical levels. Global markets are feeling the pain as well, with higher energy costs rippling everywhere. President Trump has been pushing allies to send warships to reopen the route and protect shipping routes. There have been many traditional partners like Australia and others that are refusing to join, leaving the U.S. largely in its own high-stakes naval standoff in the region. So, if you are, nervous about gas prices going up, you should be. If you're nervous about your Amazon packages taking a little bit longer because petrol is a little more expensive, there's going to be delays. There's delays in everything, guys. This is just, you can survive. We all can survive. That unless, of course, you were just living on the edge of things and that, you were maybe a couple cents away from not being able to afford bread. I can understand you being nervous. I get it. This is war times are never easy, ladies and gentlemen. But adding to the fuel of the fire, this bombshell intelligence leak about Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in the early days of the conflict. According to reports from U.S. intelligence briefed to President Trump, Mojtaba may be gay, with claims that his father once worried about this making him unsuitable to rule the Islamic Republic. The president reportedly reacted with surprise and laughter during a briefing. These unverified personal allegations have exploded across media and social media platforms, turning the serious geopolitical crisis into a tabloid-style chaos. They're drawing reactions from the LGBTQ plus groups, joking about welcoming an unexpected icon. Tehran has not commented about it, but the rumor is amplifying about the internal regime's instability and questions about their future leadership amid the war. Let's play a little bit of clips from GMA, because they probably know how to inform you a little bit better than I do.
This morning, Israel says they've killed Iran's security chief, Ali Larijani.
Ali Larijani.
Of the regime. Just days ago, in a show of defiance, he appeared in a public march when a strike landed nearby.
That didn't go well.
Alongside him, Gholem Reza Soleimani, the head of the Basij, the religious militia responsible for the brutal suppression of protesters.
Oof.
Meantime, Iran unleashed a wave of new attacks across the region overnight.
Uh-oh.
A drone struck this hotel in Baghdad, not far from the US Embassy, setting off a fiery explosion. And another attack targeted the US Embassy itself. Iraqi officials say air defense systems shot down a rocket nearby. Multiple waves of Iranian attacks. Officials call it the most intense assault since the war began. At least 5 drones used. And this morning, new concerns over Iran's targeting of radar systems, which act as early detection for air defense in the region. New satellite images appear to show that Iran has hit these sites multiple times with precision. The before on the left and on the right.
So there is one of the site that looks in pretty decent condition. I believe that's one on the left. And on the right, we just have buildings that look all over the place. There's debris. There's kind of dirt all over the ground. It looks like it's pieces of concrete. It looks like a mess.
Holes visible in the roofs. The third week of war, and Iran is still able to cause chaos. Its blockade of the vital shipping lane at the Strait of Hormuz, deepening the oil crisis. President Trump may have gone to war without key U.S. allies. Now he's blasting them for refusing to help reopen the strait. Trump himself says his calls for allied support are a loyalty test.
I'm almost doing it in some cases, not because we need them, but because I want to find out how they react.
America's allies insist it's not their fight. Italy is calling for diplomacy, while other NATO members are backing out entirely. Germany has refused to send help, saying it's not our war.
We can't be at every place to support a war which we didn't start it.
The British Prime Minister sharing a similar sentiment.
We will not be drawn into the wider war.
But Trump is pressing forward, claiming America can go it alone.
We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them.
The president has also claimed he discussed the war with a former U.S. president. He refused to reveal which one. Former presidents Clinton, Obama and Biden have told ABC News They have not spoken with him recently.
Maybe he's talking about how he had a private meeting with Jimmy before he went ahead and croaked out, because he left right around the time Skibbity Toilet left Fortnite. So it could have been within the last few years that he went over to Jimmy's residence, and they were like, yeah, he's kind of there. If you look at him, sometimes his eyes will open, and if you talk real loud, he might give you a smile. But he went and he talked it out with Jimmy, and he was like, hey, but Jimmy, I'm really thinking about it. I want to have a Middle East crisis on par with yours. Your hostage crisis, it's one of the greatest envies. Bush tried to replicate something nearly as terrible, and he got a lot of people killed, a lot of innocent people, but I want to have a disaster the likes of which we've never seen in this country, the likes of which is going to ruin the economy, it's going to ruin people's lives, and I need inspiration from one of the worst presidents still in living memory, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Carter.
And Trump confirmed that it wasn't Bush.
Oh, damn it.
And the war's second front in Lebanon is
I can understand avoiding Bush for advice on Middle East conflicts. Maybe he went to Cheney, because technically Cheney he was acting president for just a couple hours, but whatever.
Thousands of Israeli troops have now moved into southern Lebanon to take...
I'm actually going to look that up because I want to make sure I'm not incorrect. How long was Dick Cheney... Because I remember he was acting president at one point. Cheney, acting president. Give me the answer, Google. He was acting president twice for a total of approximately 4 hours and 30 minutes while President George W. Bush underwent colonoscopies. Both instances occurred under the 25th Amendment. Curious. Well, there you go. There's your answer.
The UN is calling for de-escalation.
Could have been Dick Cheney.
Over the 1 million Lebanese who've now been forced from their homes. Robin.
All right, James. Thanks to you for your...
Thank you, James. Let's hear a little bit about this intel that the Supreme Leader is probably, maybe gay? I don't know.
President Trump was stunned to learn that U.S. intelligence indicates new Iranian Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei may be gay, and that his father, the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, feared his suitability to rule the Islamic Republic for that reason. The Post can reveal. Trump couldn't contain a surprise and laughed aloud when he was briefed on the intel, according to sources. Others in the room also found it, quote, hilarious, and joined the president's reaction, while one senior intelligence official has not stopped laughing about it for days, said one
Stephen
person
Miller
familiar with the briefing. The shocking claim was described to the Post by two intelligence community officials and a third person close to the White House. All three sources say the implausible-sounding allegation is viewed as credible by U.S. spy agencies. Two of the sources said the intelligence indicates that Mojtaba has had a
Maybe they go in a liberal direction. Can you imagine? Iran is they're having pride parades in a few years. Can you imagine? God, I sound like I'm on some old TV show.
long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor.
What are we saying?
Mojtaba has had a long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor.
Mojtaba has had a long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor. What does this mean?
Sounding allegation is viewed as credible.
Run that by
US
me.
Spy agencies. Two of the sources said the intelligence indicates that Mojtaba has had a long-term sexual relationship with his childhood tutor.
I guess maybe not in their country. I don't think it's illegal. I don't know. That's isn't that grooming?
The third source said the intelligence indicated the affair was with a person who formerly worked for the Khamenei family. Mojtaba, who is believed to have been wounded in the same February 28th airstrike that killed his father and other members.
By the way, he looks gay. Can we just say it? Okay, his father, gray. His father, by the way, clearly didn't try to avoid the wrinkles. He had that notoriously really deep one in the middle of his brow that looks like he was angry or thinking all the time. Mojtaba, he is a bit of a queer eye. He's a queer eye for the straight guy. He has a very nice brow ridge. He's like, sweetie, I'm not going to be flexing my brow too much because you know that's going to create wrinkles and we ain't got no Botox in this country because it's just going to be botulism and it's just going to kill you. And he is smart. He's dialed in. He looks like one of the guys that would give you a haircut at the Mall of America. I'm not going to lie. You see some of these Persian men in the Mall of America, and they look admittedly like really beautiful. Some of them, they have cleaner beards than any white guy could ever hope to have. They straight up look like they're carved. They look like the side decals of cars. You know what I mean? They look sprayed on. It's beautiful. I think that this gentleman could be a queer icon in the upcoming future.
His family has made aggressive sexual overtures to men caring for him, possibly while under the influence of heavy medication, the Post sources said. U.S. spy agencies do not have photographic evidence of the 56-year-old's alleged sexual attraction to men, but the sources insisted the tip is solid, with one saying it was derived from one of the most protected sources that the government has. The fact that this was elevated to the highest of high levels shows you there's some confidence in this, added a second source.
Well, that's just, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Closer to home, let's stop covering the queer eye, because I'm just going to say it. I think he's going to have pictures of himself. He's going to have t-shirts being sold where you're going to go to Minneapolis Pride and you're going to see people selling t-shirts with Mojtaba Khamenei, the new Ayatollah of Iran, with his face right on the front, and you're going to love it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's cover this story that's closer to home with a major shakeup in the Trump administration. Joe Kent, one of the most basic names in the administration, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, and one of the president's top counterterrorism officials, has resigned in protest over the Iran war. In his letter, Kent said that he cannot in good conscience support the conflict, arguing that Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States, and that the war was driven more by pressure from allies like Israel than by direct American security needs. This was argued originally. Do you guys remember that clip of the Marine who, by the way, is an absolute, he is a freak. He wears the what's it called? The kafaya. He married a Palestinian woman. He's completely radicalized. He walks around with that usual garb and whatnot. We covered about how he's probably an Iranian plant as far as we can tell. I'm just being honest with you, whatever. I think that his point was not wrong, that no one wants to fight for Israel, and then they busted up his arm, because admittedly, not the time to make that point. You were not there for public comment. Boo, 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 boo. You can talk about how he has the right to speak, maybe during a public comment hearing, but that was not what that was. And that one woman was like, "You're like robots. None of you look at him." And it's like, well, because he's being escorted out and he's kind of a nuisance. He's like kind of making a big, bald, dumb idiot of himself. And it's unfortunate that he got his arm busted up. I'm sorry to hear that. But he's, what is he running for? I think he's running for a congressional seat or something in North Carolina. I don't know. I will get you further information on that. We actually have a clip about it on the clips section. It'll be on the YouTube channel somewhere. But he said that it's from pressure from people like Israel and rather than by direct American security needs. This is marking the first high-profile resignation from within the administration over the escalating fighting, highlighting the growing unease among the America First voices about the direction of the policy. Let's play this clip here.
And we have breaking news. Top counterterrorism official Joe Kent has resigned over President Trump's war with Iran. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center posted on social...
The director of the National Counterterrorism Center resigns because he does not morally agree with the war that we're in. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is what winning feels like. Clearly, we're just not used to winning.
Media saying, quote, Iran posed no imminent threat to the U.S. He also says, it's clear we started this war due to pressure from Israel. Let's bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers for more on that.
Karen Travers.
Martinez and ABC's Patrick Reevell in Doha, Qatar as well. Heidi Wall. So, Louis, how significant is this resignation?
How significant?
It's very significant, Diane, because this is a senior U.S. counterterrorism official, a top intelligence official in the administration.
Yeah.
And he has been a very strong supporter of President Trump for quite some time. He's former Green Beret, former CIA. His wife.
He's former Green Brigade? What?
Supporter of President Trump for quite some time. He's former Green Beret, former CIA. His wife actually was killed in a terror attack in Manbij, Syria, 8 years ago. And so he heads the organization that would determine whether there is a terrorist threat to the United States. And the fact that he says there was no imminent threat is very significant, because one of the justifications that the Trump administration has used is saying that there...
You know what I think he's doing? He's getting out so that he can go, hey, I had no involvement. I'm ready to pledge myself as a brother to the regime.
Was an imminent threat being posed posed by Iran towards the United States. Now, they haven't specified exactly what they meant, but one of the things that they've pointed to is the nuclear threat, that Iran was on the verge of creating a nuclear weapon based off of their 400 kilograms of enriched uranium.
Yeah, sure.
So the fact that you have Joe Kent now offering his resignation is a strong indication of the division within the administration, potentially, of how the war is being carried out, and whether this goes against President Trump's campaign promises not to initiate a war and to end all endless wars. But again, very significant given his position, and especially I think the key thing to point out is his notion that there was no imminent threat to the United States being posed by Iran. And so I think that again points to divisions within the administration as we're now entering the third week in this conflict against Iran.
Oh boy. Yep. Entering our third week. Let's actually, I want to, one more thing before we move on, because we are going to move on. We're going to cover this new fun story about some teenagers that plotted to kill their friend, and they decided to be funny on camera. So, we'll cover that eventually, but we're going to cover this, how Trump has announced that a congressman would be dead by June, in news that was not publicly known. I love this clip so much. I love this clip so much because he has no regard for people's privacy. There's never anything that is spoken in confidence around him, because everything will be spoken later out of confidence, quite frankly, out of his confidence. You can never say anything and expect it to be under a lock and key around him. And that's like the clip when, remember Rubio passed him something when it said, "Go back to Chevron," and he read it out loud because he didn't realize that it was a private note that was trying to instruct him to, push his speech back in the direction of some people. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I love when he has these moments where he has absolutely no concern or care for whatever, for whoever may be hearing this, for the person who has a terminal disease. Let's go ahead and let's actually cover this clip right here with Mike Johnson. Go.
But yeah, okay. Congressman Neil Dunn of Florida had some real health challenges, and it was very serious, and had a pretty grim diagnosis. And I mentioned it to the president, and I said, Congressman Dunn is a real champion and a patriot because he's still coming to work. And if others got this diagnosis, they would be apt to go home and retire.
What was the diagnosis?
It was, I think it was a terminal diagnosis.
He would be dead by June.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay.
Okay, that wasn't public, but yeah, okay. Great response from Mike Johnson. You absolutely handled that gracefully. I'm impressed with the level of tact that you both showed towards the situation. Let's begin covering probably our next story, because we don't have to all worry about the Strait of Hormuz the whole episode. The oil markets are volatile, the political fallout mounting. The world is watching closely, but we really don't have to. We got our slice of the real world for right now. Well, we're going to get some more of the real world, but we're heading